Hi guys, welcome back to another video tutorial. So in this tutorial what we'll be going through is percentages, and in particular what we're going to be looking at is compound interest. So I will be using a formula that hopefully you guys will understand how to use that formula and be able to answer questions where it involves interests and finding final values and that kind of stuff. So let's get straight to the question. Sai invests £2,500 for 3 years at 4% per annum compound interest. Work out the value of the investment after 3 years. Now, there's a formula that I'm going to use to find the actual final value after 3 years, and I'll explain to you how this formula works. And the formula is basically n is equals to O M N. So I call it nomn. Well, nomn, if you want to remember it that way. Okay, and I'll explain what each of these terms means. So the big capital N is basically the final value after n number of years, after n number of years, n being the number of years obviously, so n number of years, so that's your capital N. And then what we have is O, which is your original value or your original amount. Okay, so in the question normally they will give you an original value, where the original kind of the amount of value, the investment at the beginning, right? And M is called your multiplier, and I'll show you how we're going to do that as well, how to work the multiplier. And the small n, as you've guessed from the beginning, is the number of years. Okay, and basically I'm just going to use this formula to work out the final value. So using this formula, right, I'm going to start with, okay, because we want to find the value of the investment after 3 years. So I want my final value, which is a capital N. So I'm going to have N is equals to, now my original value. What is my original value? If you look at the question there, it says 2,500. So that's going to be 2,500 times my M, which is my multiplier. Now, how we find the multiplier? Basically, to find the multiplier, I'll write it here on the side, is basically, now we know percentages is out of 100. And we know here that we have 4%. And 4% compound interest. Now, compound interest basically means, when you hear the word interest, it means you're adding a value, right? So what we're going to do, because we know percentages is out of 100, and because we know interest is adding, we're going to do 100 plus 4, which gives us 104%, right? But because the multiplier is in decimal, we want to convert that percentage into decimal. So we do 104 divided by 100, because that's what you do when you want to convert percentages to decimal. If you divide that by 100, that should give you 1.04. So therefore your multiplier or your M value is 1.04, right? So I take this 1.04 and put it in my M. Now my N, small value of N, which is number of years, it says here in the question for 3 years. So I just put that to the power of 3. Now for those who didn't understand what annum means per annum basically means per year. So it's 4% per year. Okay, just to kind of, because I forgot to mention that. And now all you do is you just put this in your calculator. 2,500 times 1.04 to the power of 3. And if you put that in your calculator, your final value after 3 years should be 2,812 pounds and 16 pence. And that's pretty much it. That's how you work out the final investment, if you like, using compound interest, the compound interest formula. Now the other way, which you can also do, and I'm sure some of you guys already know that as well, is you find 4% of 2,500 for the first year, and then you find your value for that, and then you add that to 2,500, and then you find 4% for that value for the second year, and again you do the same thing for the third year. So what you'll be essentially doing is you'll be doing the first year, second year, third year, and then finding your final value. Or, and if you're okay with that method, stick with that. Or you just use the formula, and you could literally do it in one line, and that's it, and you still get the same marks. Okay, so now what I'll do is, again, hopefully now this formula is, you understand how to use this formula. If it has, give this video a big thumbs up. That's pretty much it really. And what I'm going to do now is give you guys some questions to do. So yeah, try them out. Right, so here are some questions for you guys to try and do. Now, what I would say again is just read the question. It might look a bit similar, but it's not. Read the question, So pause the video, read the question, try it out, and then play the video back again and then see if you got the answer. Right, so let's do the first one. So the first question that we have is £1,500 is invested for 4 years at 2.5% per annum compound interest. Work out the total amount in the account after 4 years. So if I'm going to use my NOM formula, okay, so I know that I want to find the final value. So my original value is 1,500 times now my multiplier. So to find my multiplier, I'll just write it on the side. My multiplier is basically 100 because again it's interest. I'm adding 2.5%. So that is going to be 102.5. Okay, so remember what we need to do now. If we add 100 to 2.5 and then, I mean, sorry, this is basically the multiplier, but because we want the multiplier in decimal, what we need to do is divide it by 100. So that will be 1.025. So that's my multiplier. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put that multiplier value back into the equation. So if we put that here, 1.025, and then n is the number of years. So in this case, we're looking at 4 years. Okay, so basically now, oh, that's 1,500. Yeah. So now if we put this in the calculator, 1,500 times 1.025 to the power of 4, that should give you a final value of 1,655 pounds and, if you like, 72 pence. Yeah, so that's the final value for the first one. So if you've got that, well done. And again, just a simple formula to use. Right, so the second question now is is £4,000 is invested for 2 years at 5.4% per year compound interest. Work out the total interest after the 2 years. So here it's asking us the total interest and not the actual final value. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find my final value, right? And then once I find my final value, I'm going to take that away from my original value, and that will give me the interest that's been accruing for the 2 years. So my original value on this is 4,000, so it's 4,000 times my multiplier. So the multiplier in this case, because we're looking at 5.4%, we're going to add that to 100, so that's going to be 105.4%. But remember, multiply means we need to divide it by 100, so we divide here by 100, so that will be 1.054. That's my multiplier, so 1.054, and n is a number of years, so in this case it's 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to find our final value, which is 4,000 times 1.054 to the power of 2, and that will give you a final value of 4,443 pounds 66 pence. So that's your final value. But remember, we want the question's asking to find the interest, right, for the 2 years. So for me to find the total interest after 2 years, I'm going to use my final value that I've got for 2 years, so 4,443.66. Take that away, minus 4,000, which is the original value, right? Because then this will give me the interest that's been accruing for the 2 years, and that should give us £443.66, and that is your total interest for the 2 years. So hopefully you've taken something from this video and you understand how to use the compound interest formula, right? It's very simple when you when you look at it, because it's really just kind of finding the multiplier and then putting it in the equation and then with your original value, and then just literally then using your calculator to find the final value. Okay, so if there's any questions that you don't understand, just put it down in the comments and I will get back to you, and until then I shall see you on the next one.